Reporter Zara Burton put the question many Jamaicans were already asking directly to National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang during a recent press briefing.
Did they threaten to cut visas, or did they allow us to maybe have a revamp or reconsideration of processing of immigrant visas or something?
You're a long-standing journalist and an intelligent one, and no international discussion proceeds along those lines. We're not at war with anybody. Iran and America at war, they discuss Strait of Hormuz and bombing about his, but that's a war. We are two friendly countries, we have bilateral discussion daily. That kind of discussion doesn't take place in a healthy bilateral relationship.
Case closed. Well, not quite, because just days later, the story took another dramatic turn. A report from Nationwide News, citing an unnamed U.S. source familiar with the discussion, alleged that Washington had threatened to revoke the U.S. visa of ordinary Jamaicans if the government failed to sign the third country national agreement.
Nationwide News understands that the threat of random Jamaican citizens having their non-immigrant visas revoked by U.S. authorities gave impetus to the decision by the Horace administration to agree to action a plan with its counterpart in Washington to accommodate so-called third country nationals seeking to transit to another country via Kingston. This threat of wide-scale visa revocations was mooted by at least 2 U.S. government officials.
If true, this doesn't sound like a healthy bilateral relationship as Chang initially described. It sounds more like do or else. So the obvious question is, could the United States actually do this? Legally, yes. The United States has broad authority over who receives or keeps a U.S. visa. A visa isn't a constitutional right. It's a privilege granted by the United States government. So the issue isn't whether Washington can revoke a visa. It can. The real question is whether it threatened to use that power to influence Jamaica's decision. And at this point, there is no publicly available documentary evidence to confirm such a threat was officially made. Chang denied being pressured. The United States has not publicly acknowledged making any such threat, and Nationwide stands by its reporting based on an unnamed U.S. source. Now, before we go any further, let's quickly explain what this agreement is actually about. Third Country National Agreement, or TCN for short, are deals where a country agrees to receive people the United States wants to remove, but who aren't from the country and can't easily be sent to their home of origin. Migrants in limbo, deportees from somewhere else entirely. Jamaica is to become a transit and a holding point.
The Trump administration has for several months been lobbying the Horace administration to join at least 23 other countries across the globe under the Third Country National Agreement. Sources close to the U.S. government tell our news center that Washington was not amused by what it perceived to be the tardiness of the Jamaican government in agreeing to a deal. Those sources say that's when the U.S. pulled the visa revocation card as a means of hastening the steps of the Jamaican government. It's a matter our news center put squarely to Minister of National Security and Peace, Dr. Horace Chang, in a telephone call on Thursday afternoon. Dr. Chang downplayed the claim, saying there was never any attempt by Washington to force the hand of the Horace administration.
But if nationwide reporting is accurate, the bigger story may not be the agreement itself, but how the agreement was secured. More than a century ago, U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt summed up his foreign policy with a phrase that echoed through history: speak softly and carry a big stick. The principle was simple. You don't always need to use force. Sometimes the possibility of force is enough. Back then, the big stick often meant military power. Today, it can take many different forms: trade, economic sanction, foreign aid, security cooperation, or access to something, in this case the U.S. visa, that our country greatly value. Every year, countless Jamaicans travel to America for tourism, business, education, and medical care and visit family. That makes a US visa far more than a travel document. In the right circumstance, it can become a powerful diplomatic tool. But if those unnamed US sources are correct, the message may never have needed to be explicit. More often, it's implied, a suggestion, a warning, a reminder of what one side has the power to do. And that's basically the essence of Roosevelt's big stick. The stick doesn't have to be used. Everyone just knows that it's there. Which brings us back to this question. At the heart of this story, did the United States threaten to revoke visa of ordinary Jamaican to pressure the government to sign a third country national agreement? Right now, there are two competing narratives. One says Jamaica signed the deal voluntarily as part of a cooperative relationship between allies. The other, based on a nationwide unnamed US source, says diplomatic pressure, including the possibility of visa revocation, played a deceptive role. Without documentary evidence or official confirmation from Washington, neither version can be presented as an established fact. So what are your thoughts, people? I would love to know in the comment section down below. And of course, 50% of you have not yet subscribed to the channel, so correct that. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and most importantly, again, subscribe to the channel for more.